got this Fortnite for y'all. We just chilling and we're not really taking this stuff seriously, man. I did good on Fortnite, like last couple games, like one of these games had 7 kills, and the bad thing about this map or this whole game right now is that the majority of this map is water, and it ended in water, and I got third party. I was pinched. I was in the center of the circle, and it's really bad because it was a duo squad, but I had like 7 kills. I've gotten better, but I still I'm 50% on this whole season. I like it and I don't like it. Now the charge, that's like, bro, the charge, it's better not to pick it up. I'd rather take an SMG than use the charge. Now the sniper rifles, oh my god, better. This is terrible. $140, $127. Well, my biggest issue with this whole thing is I feel like the hitbox and stuff is broken. Like, especially with the pump, and then the hit spread is terrible. But I think I know why they did it for the most part. It's because like they needed something to be competitive, and I don't know, man. A lot of people are focusing on these games trying to boot their channel, like Valorant. Valorant's a bootleg Apex, mixed in with Halo, and it's terrible. Gameplay wise, it's terrible, you know. And Overwatch, that's really what it is. It's Overwatch and Apex on crack. I hated to put it like that, but that's kind of what it is. Truly. That's still a problem with this game too. Is you getting stuck on. I might play a few of these, but I'm gonna go to sleep. I mean, you know, a whole lot of people talk about the virus and stuff like that. I was at the barbershop today, or this afternoon, like 5. My barber took too long, but we ain't gonna talk about it. Now, if I get my hair cut, it's like at least an hour. I mean, I don't have as much hair. I have a lot of hair, relatively speaking, compared to my other barber's clients, but I don't think I had that much hair. Yeah. And I feel like cutting your hair, it shouldn't take that long, but I feel like once the barber starts talking, you know, I don't know, bro. And speaking of bad stuff, I know internet and all this foolishness. How? Just bring me to my point. They can get me, that'll be fine. I'm not really tripping, but that right there, and I know I was on that thing. already low. They should just shoot the bottom of the floor. That's what I do. They can honestly just go ahead and reboot me. See, that's what they're gonna do. I picked it up, but that junk lag. Oh, bro, spending money on services, bro. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, I've been trying to find stuff. Like, I know people talking about the movie theaters, like, you know, are open back up, and they're gonna eventually gonna have to because they're bleeding right now. I don't want to go to no movie, bro. It don't make sense, like, to go to a movie. Like, why would you want to go to a movie? I mean, yeah, I understand the popcorn and stuff, bro. They gotta fix this. Literally. It don't make no type of sense, bro. And I know I done jumped up there multiple times, bro. Come on now. Gotta reboot them. I don't like that little slowdown time. I mean, I understand it, but then again, I don't like it. And then you see this lag, so I am lagging. But like, definitely paying money for certain stuff is just like, I don't know, it's out the realm of possibility to me. Nobody can tell me that like you spend their money on certain stuff. Like for instance, these games, like a lot of people already knew The Last of Us 2 was definitely getting ruined, and you know people still basically spent a good amount of money on the game, and you know the playthroughs. I mean, I like the playthroughs, don't get me wrong. You know, I'm not on the side of a game, a AAA publisher, you know, charging more money than what it needs. Oh my god. Teammate left. I'm Paris. Merci beaucoup. Oh my god. Ooh, dummy. Oh my god, that was an idiot, bro. Worst spot, and look, not only was it the worst spot, I didn't have any heals basically. I don't push that, like, no, no way. That kid seems like he's excited to this place sucks, but okay. Let's think about it. Do I think this game is bad? I would say I'm about 50-50 on it. The map is bad. The water, I know what they did. I'm pretty sure this whole thing is graphically it's breaking the PS4 down to the maybe the textures, and because this thing is like pixelated. I feel like it's more pixelated, if you know what I mean. Like for instance, I don't 100% believe that this whole thing is the best it could possibly be. Just for the fact being that she already has so many games, so that's pretty much peaking at peak performance, and they have to add something to work with the current console. Like the denizens on a transit, they're not supposed to be there, but it really pushed Black Ops 2. Really pushed the PS3, so that's why they had the lava and stuff to slow you down. Just graphically, it was supposed to be meant for the PS4, but they had to work with the limitations that they had on the PS3. I've always been I grew up on Xbox, so I mean, it ain't nothing to me. Well, I'm in my bag, bruh. Ain't nobody stopping me, bruh. And one thing I'm not enjoying so much is the competitive scene. And it has nothing to do with some of the stuff. Like, for instance, like nobody can say that, you know, Mortal Kombat, the last tournament they had where they unveiled Spawn, that was a good tournament. I mean, relatively speaking, the game was a whole lot different. I know they made I know that they made updates to try to fix the game and stuff like that. But past that, I mean, it's not really been anything that's ooh. He must have left. Oh my god. Dude. That guy sucked, bro. And the bad thing about it, I was lagging and I didn't see him. You live and you learn, bro. You live and you learn. But like, I don't know. When games focus on the competitive or they have a big pool of people who are not really active in the, not even active in the community rather, but like, if I'm supposed to be a top ranking game and I'm not actively doing anything about like trying to make the game get the insight that I need to make sure that the game is successful, you know, I'm gonna do everything I can. Like some of these companies are gonna do everything they can to minimize, you know, the narrative. Like Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare is a, if you think about it, why would a game that's supposed to have one of the biggest fan bases and the most successful launch to date, people thought it was going to be a better game, and it's not. Like, it's just like the game, the map design of the game was terrible. I mean, I don't want to keep on saying the same stuff that people are talking about, but you know, the map rotation is terrible. You know, the spawns is terrible. The guns is broken for the most part. You got people saying the game is so good, but the game is not that good. I played what you call it, Call of Duty World War II. I installed that back onto my console. I do pretty good on it. The first game I played, I got like 33 kills. I was doing good. I had like probably like I had like 23 kills and like around 10 deaths. And then I had bad people on my team, and there was a guy with like 7 and 23. And then once, you know, you have one of those people on your team that are statistically terrible, they try to put you on the same team, like you're trying to carry them. That didn't work out. People was getting artillery strikes and I start dying. It's like, I don't know. Modern Warfare and their matchmaking system has been utterly terrible for a while, or just Call of Duty. The skill-based matchmaking, nobody's asking for skill-based matchmaking. It's just like, I mean, I get some of the worst teammates there are each Call of Duty, so it doesn't matter. Black Ops 4, you know, Black Ops 4 is terrible. That's me being objective. It was terrible too, because what was the streak? The drone strike. What are you calling the drones, bro? I got one of them things, and Man, this guy's a DH, man. You gonna come in and steal my guns? Back to what I'm saying about games, like a lot of people talking about, you know, this Last of Us is hyped up, but wasn't that good. They killed off the people. I mean, think about it. A game, I don't even 100% know, but games and certain stuff, you see a reiteration or a reboot, some people don't even own the rights to the actual game. Like Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, I don't know if they 100% have the rights, because the people who produced Modern Warfare 2 is probably one of the greatest Call of Duties, besides Black Ops 2. This third party stuff is getting old. Bruh. I didn't go out like no scrub, so I mean it is what it is at that point. And I did snipe that person, 215. I don't even go for a headshot. I mean I'm alright at the game. Yo, the first day, nah. I can't say 110% with confidence I was playing the best, but buying games from AAA publishers, I don't know. Like, I like how what EA did with the not the battle pass, like the game pass. You pay a set amount of money and you get to play the games, you get to download and have access. But that would be a value if the games are actually better. A lot of people swearing up and down it'd be the Star Wars Battlefront 2 is good, and they got a lot of backlash how the game was just terrible. What I think about the game is that most games, they're just going to stop supporting. They're going to milk it. It's like a hedge fund. You know, once these restaurants and stuff, they're going to milk the franchise out for what it's worth, liquidate it, and then bankrupt it. Spend pennies on it, pennies on a dollar for what it's worth. The company's struggling. Pennies on a dollar, run the brand down to the ground, liquidate it. You know, next thing you know, it's over. But paying money for certain stuff like games, $64.35. Like, I might upgrade to a few things when the PS5 comes out. like a new capture card, but I'm not 100% sure. It just depends. I'm not gonna get a monitor or anything like that. I don't think it wouldn't be beneficial for somebody like me to get a monitor, just strictly because of how things kind of are. Do I think equipment makes videos better? I'm not 100% sold on that. I can't definitively say that that person is lucky because we ain't got a mic. No, I don't feel like talking to people like that. I know that sounds wrong, but legitimately, sometimes I don't feel like talking to people, bro. And I mean that with no disrespect, like, that dude did not pick up the gun. I got the gun. I'm so done. But definitely like spending money on like, you know, microtransactions and stuff like that. In my honest opinion, games, like I said, you don't want to spend money on a game that's not supporting itself. Like, you know, you're milking out a franchise. And I know a whole lot of games and stuff like that, like 2K. I forgot what that game came out in 2013. It was terrible, but it was the last game released by THC. Released by THC. It was that one where they had like the fat head. It came out like, this girl isn't doing anything. It wasn't WWE 13. It was by it was like WWE Legends or something like that. It wasn't Legends of WrestleMania. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. It was the WWE All Stars game. There we go. That game was terrible, bro. Like, that game should never have been made. There's a number of games where I can't honestly tell you why they even bothered to make them when they know the game was terrible. Being released by a AAA publisher definitely gets you some fun. Ooh. I'm gonna just, yeah, I'm gonna just leave. That right there didn't make that much sense. I mean, I did get a kill, and I did kill an OG Skull Trooper, but past that, Most expensive taco. I'm still laughing about what you call it. Like, I'm still laughing about like my sophomore year, and don't make that much sense for people. Like, I don't know, you know, a lot of stuff that you think about, like when you think about ideologies, especially when you're at school, are basically taught by people's parents. My parents pretty much fair, you know. I grew up in a fair household, you know, just like that. But like, let me see. There was certain people just what you call like at school, since at high school. You know, I'm not even talking about the politics thing, but we talk about like where we got our stuff from, like Rousseau. Let's think about another person. John Locke, natural rights, all that type of stuff. All that type of stuff. The Magna Carta. Voltaire, definitely, all those type of stuff, all those figures. I mean, it's interesting, but at the same time, like the United States, a lot of people don't know it's a democratic constitutional republic. So that's what it is. Paying money for certain stuff, like, I mean, information. I'm definitely not a fan of like the textbooks that they're selling now, especially like schools and stuff. They're getting sold these little packets, not even packets. Certain schools are doing packets now where the teachers and stuff are creating the curriculum. That's private schools. Private school education, I mean, let's be honest here. Private school education, I mean, it's good, but it does not really expound. Like, it doesn't do anything really. Because like I said, I went to a school that was like international baccalaureate school. It's supposed to be like international. We did have some exchange students live with people, try to assimilate here in America and stuff like that. That was interesting, you know, interacting with them. They live here with a family for a certain amount of months and stuff like that. Whether or not they like it, and then they're gone. But I mean, it is different. But paying money for certain stuff, like, I don't know. Like, going to school for a long time is bad, in my opinion. Too. Like, taking a hard class in the morning, I mean, it just depends on what the course is. Cause I be like, I'm not even saying brain dead, but like, you know what the deal is with the school stuff. Like, you know that's undesirable. Like, if you were taking, not even a difficult course, but if you're taking an extensive course, like business or something like that. Business not even that difficult. That guy can talk as much crap as you want to. Trash can. You pay a lot of money to go to college and stuff like that. People taking out loans. I don't have student loans. I just have cheap college bill. Like, definitely, like, the college, the way the prices break down, you have a breakdown for, like, the amount of credit hours you're taking. That's about the amount of time that you're in, like, college. So, a typical college class is 50 minutes. Really, after everything is said and done, I'll probably say it's about 35 minutes of instruction time because, you know, certain teachers, I mean, I'm really thankful for certain teachers who don't make it about necessarily the class, make sure it's individualized attention for, like, the students. And some of the other stuff I really don't care about, like, you know, real life, like, for instance, you know, if like, there's certain teachers, they go a whole year without, not a whole year, they almost go 2 months without having a check or stuff like that. I'm definitely against paying a lot of money for certain stuff, like, but like the course breakdown, you gotta know that some of this stuff is just not. I'm not saying it's scam, but it's definitely, you gotta be smart. Like the textbook's like $200. Like, and online access, you may have to pay $200, but the rest of your books and stuff included. Now I got that for like a year, so any class that I take after a certain point, I'll have it until like December. I'm not looking forward to it because customer support, every time I deal with them, they don't want to add, like, there's this company called Cengage, and it's like terrible. I have to pay like $200 for a book, but I get all access to all my other classes, books, and information. Paying money for a book is, you know, a lot of my professors, we don't even use books, you know. That's another problem I got with certain stuff. Like, you pay all this money for books, you're not even really using it. The application of the actual information is non-existent. I have to question sometimes the rigor of the program too. You know, most of the stuff I feel like, you know, we get the information off PowerPoints, but none of the stuff is really expounded upon. I know it's up to the student to do that, but to a certain extent, like, I had a professor who, like, for a math class, I went to the bathroom, and we have this program at my school where we have kids, high school kids, they basically are taking credits, like they're taking college classes with actual college students like myself, and they're like, the program starts around 10th grade and they're there for 2 years, but they get basically an associate's degree. So when everything is said and done, they pretty much, they don't have like a year to 2 years left at their program, whatever they decide to choose, and they can apply those credits to what you call it, to your local university and stuff like that. Because it was out of state, some of them, like, credits and stuff ain't gonna transfer. So that's another thing to think about. When people transfer to these universities and stuff like that, that stuff doesn't transfer. Adobo. Hot tamale. Yeah. I'm crank. That stuff is an L though. But who are bent on going to the gym. Like, I honestly could do a whole lot more without going to the gym. I know that sounds, I could do better about using, you know, the equipment that I have at my home. But at the same time, like, I feel like you shouldn't have to do certain stuff just to get like the basic and the bare minimums that you feel like you need. Now, the thing about that I contest about like gyms and stuff reopening is that people don't even wash the stuff that like clean the equipment after. So what makes people think mysteriously out of all of a sudden that people are going to clean these machines, wipe it down? I know they have the sanitizing wipes. The thing about the sanitizing wipes, like for instance, they have what is it? They had a sanitizer machine and they had a sanitizer, but it had work. And the crazy part about that is that they're not even really, the stuff is not dispensing the sanitizer that people want and need. And so they have the sanitizer, like the disinfectant wipes, and they had a thing, they're just telling people to use the sanitizer machine if that's even working, Lord knows. And they're telling people to use that and put it on the thing so you can have what you call it, some sanitizer. I mean, I don't think that some of that stuff is a good idea. The practical application of a lot of stuff just goes out the drain. Like, if I was, thinking practical about business from a standpoint, I know certain people want to limit their team leaders' role and certain stuff like that so they can have them do jobs really not in their description. But I find that like there's pretty much a problem with that. I got a problem with that. You're going outside the realm of your job description. That's really not your place. Like the room and board, I don't know how sure that's broke down, but yeah. For school, I know I have a lot of, I'm taking like 18 credit hours. Hopefully I'll do the whole thing, but I'm definitely having a mask. Not playing around. We have international students coming from like Jamaica, Bahamas, and stuff like that. My biggest thing with this coronavirus stuff, logistically, you don't have like the borders and stuff, especially international borders should be shut down. I'm not talking about Mexico. I'm not talking about that type of stuff. I'm just talking about the whole world, not worldwide borders, but definitely travel should be suspended. I just don't think logistically, we think about it. I know there was a flight here recently that, someone got banned for JetBlue for life. They got a perma ban for flying knowing that they had the symptoms of COVID-19 and they didn't, they still got on the thing and did not, report that they had the symptoms, they potentially affected people. In my honest opinion, you definitely had to shut down port of entry. Port of entry can be a cruise port, it doesn't matter. It can be an airport, that's a port of entry. And there's not going to be no social distancing and no immigration line. Like, you asked me 2 years ago, when I was in Jamaica and stuff like that, people were all in the back of people's space. It's just ridiculous. Lines were long. You have to answer a lot of questions too. I mean, I'm for that. You gotta make sure they know who you are and stuff like that. Because they can't have you overstaying your visa and certain stuff like that. Because people do that all the time. And it's not that hard. It's not that hard to contact the embassy to make sure that, you get you can get a longer visa. You get a worker's visa and stuff like that. But at the same time, there's no jobs in Jamaica. There's no jobs in these places. There's really no job. If someone says there's jobs in places in Caribbean, very few and very far between. Paying a lot of money too. Jobs so don't pay a lot of money. Like bare minimum. Like some people might make $7,000 a year, US max. And Jamaica's not really a poor country. It's a middle income country. It's not the highest. Bahamas is actually the highest. Then it's Trinidad and Tobago. I got roots there, so shout out to them, but that's not the fact. But let's see. What about the foods and certain stuff? Tourism and stuff is like the biggest money maker for Jamaica, the Bahamas. But the Bahamas they have a strong economy. Their dollar is worth as much as the US dollar. It's $1. But before it's like $1.02. It was a little bit inflated. But it's worth it as much as the US dollar. Now, do I believe that? To a certain degree, I believe it. But then again, no. Because everybody from the Bahamas, especially that goes to my school, they want to leave the Bahamas, or they have it, they set up type of import-export business. Like for products and goods they may not have in the States, or they're trying to do an IT solutions company for problems and certain stuff like that. Because Bahamas and certain stuff like that, they don't have high-speed internet. It's terrible. You'll be lucky to get 3 megabits per second. It's that bad. I think the Bahamas is definitely beautiful. It's a beautiful place. But just like anywhere, I feel like a lot of people from other countries, you see it from a lens as a, you know, a tourist or somebody who loves travel. You love having the ability to do a few things. You love the ability to freely go places. But other people, that's not their reality. And I mean, it is sad. It is sad. Alright, we don't have to get a dub. But besides the point, I don't think that people should have to do a few things. Like, I don't know. Like, some people describe certain stuff as middle income in like countries and stuff like that. But I don't think that, you know, we can define certain stuff as a middle income country. Like $50 US a week is, you know, not that much money, relatively speaking. But there's certain people in other countries that make $800 a year. You're not even in the zone. You don't want to deal with me. How? Oh. He was good. Too bad we couldn't pull that one off, but I did snipe the mess out that dude. I knew that guy was a sweat. He didn't even really kill me though. That was just on some bull, because I basically launched out. They can't realize what time it was. That was like third party central once again. But back to what I was saying about schools and certain stuff. Like school in itself and businesses, and they're not really operating as they once were. And I feel like people need to just stop trying to make money by any means necessary at the expense of people's health. Like my math professor, he's born 1943, so he's like 77. So, you know, what be the point of him teaching a math class? It's not. The average life expectancy is 78 in the U.S. Yep. Monaco has the highest, life expectancy in the world. And then Japan, that's the highest life expectancy at 85 years old. Japan. Japan actually has one of the like third strongest banks like in the United States, I think. Not like outside the United States. I had to make sure I said that right. I got that on my slide. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in Japan. Like a lot of our goods and stuff come from Japan, like Sony Pictures. They have a lot of stuff going on that place, you know, in that fashion. But paying money for certain stuff like products, I'm still laughing at certain stuff. Like people talking about they only buy Italian goods, or Italian goods and stuff is good, but I mean, if you ain't got it, you ain't got it. Like, I'm not the type of person like, yeah, I don't really put on a show for people. I mean, that was bull, but what could I do? I had no AR. But paying more money for certain stuff is just bad. Like, if you pay more money for let's see, a what's something that people paid too much for before? Well, not even before, but I forgot expensive like bread. A loaf of bread is expensive. Like a loaf of bread went from being like $1.50 to like $4. What I can't understand too now is that like ribs and certain stuff like baby back ribs. Like I got a batch of baby back ribs for like $10 today at the grocery store. Cooked good and yeah. Wasn't the best because what you call it, I had to go and then my sister took over, cooked the rest, but she didn't put like the ingredients correctly. She thought it was a dry ingredient. She didn't know exactly what the dry ingredient was. Just put brown sugar in the sauce and messed it up. And what was crazy about that is I was cooking food and actually my barber and stuff called. I'm never getting a haircut again. If it's on some BS, I'm just not getting a haircut. I don't want a haircut. If I ain't fair, me better not to get a haircut, but I don't want to get a haircut if it's inconveniencing me or my time. And I had no idea about a haircut, so nope. Especially like appointment basis that my barber's doing, like he was talking too much though. This thing be getting me. But paying a lot of money for certain stuff, like haircuts, I mean, a haircut should not be costing no $30, $35. I mean, Like I don't even like, to be honest, I don't even like talking to people who are talking about, like wonder what type of line of work you do, something like that. See you drive a nice car, or for instance, asking you if they could like get $10 on the gas pump. Nah. Or like, for instance, the dumbest thing I think I've seen somebody do or put up with is like a female putting up with like a dude or something like that. Looking at the female to change the tire of a car. Yeah, even if I don't know how to change the tire of the car, I'm not gonna look at a woman and ask like, yeah, you gonna do it. I'm like, nah. It's definition of a bum. It's crazy out here. Play a few more games for you guys, but really ain't that much going on. Now, I'm not a type person to really be asking people about certain stuff. Like, I'm just not. I mean, I really don't care that much about certain stuff. Like, with material goods, I mean, I'm kind of a minimalist. Like, I don't really be on certain stuff, like, or these fads and stuff that, you know, people got. Because, I mean, if you think about it, You're not going to get that person the benefit of finishing. That's my issue. It's third party. But definitely, I'm not the type of person to be like, yeah. Like, if you had to ask me about business, like, you know, like I said, people on a business me talking about you going where the money is at. I'm not even thinking really about the money. I'm just trying to get my degree. Or to me, it don't make that much sense. Like people talk about, they want to have this, they want to have that, and certain stuff are talking about starting a business and then LLC, you know, all this stuff. I mean, LLC is the most common form of proprietorship. If someone sues your business, they can't sue you, they can't come for your home, they can't come for your car, your personal assets. They can sue the business, but they can't sue you. So that's why a whole lot of people are LLCs, so. I remember when people kept on talking about McDonald's. You know, you can get sued for anything like the I said that the other night about how McDonald's didn't have that thing, contents hot, and the lady scalded herself. But you know, the coffee stuff is hot. I think they did like a thermometer thing, put it in the coffee, and realized how hot that thing is, and because it's in a thing, it only insulates that thing. That's why they had that little sleeve in there, so it can kind of let some of that stuff out. But you kind of know that you're going to take an L. At least you got to notice you're going to take an L if you have something like that to that effect. Now, am I a fan of coffee? Not really, but it doesn't do anything for me. Like, if I was a busy person, you know, I was professional and I was looking for something to wake me up or something like that, there was this good tea that I used to get. They used to, the person was local. They had this idea, this recipe that they did for tea. It was almost like coffee, but it didn't have the caffeine aspect to it. They did something special, or they had like some type of idea. I'm about to leave, bro. I don't got two or three more BS games I'm getting off, bro. Another thing I realized about countries and certain stuff, especially in the Caribbean, they don't really have a good textiles company, or they don't have good clothing too. They have like local clothing. They have, not saying it's bad quality, but at the same time, like Jamaica and stuff like that, they don't really have a good control of clothing. What's another issue that they don't have? Their transportation, their whole infrastructure, railing infrastructure and stuff like that kind of doesn't exist. It's not that good. Because mountains, Jamaica's mountainous, but Haiti's more mountainous than Jamaica, obviously. But let's think about it. There's not that much really going on, relatively speaking. Like, I feel like the biggest export they got coming out is rum. That's pretty decent. But Jamaica has natural resources, so they do have natural resources. They have box mites. They mine for that. They have a few other things going on like sugar cane. They have juices. They have a lot of stuff. Coconuts. They have their line of foods and certain stuff like their products. Like Grace Foods. They have that. But a lot of this stuff is export. And tourism is, your economy is 100% dependent on tourism. That's kind of bad, relatively speaking. But what are some things I think that other countries and stuff could do? Now I know, like, basically, like a project that my professor had, they was gonna send us on a trip to Haiti. It's like, yeah, spring 2018. He was gonna do that, and he was thinking about like an agricultural thing that he could do, stuff like that started up, so people can have jobs to be employed. But that stuff already exists, and it's terrible. It's just terrible, you know. By having certain stuff like that, you know, you think about weather conditions and stuff like that, mudslides, you know, poor infrastructure, that type of stuff. When you think about it, you have a bad season or fertile, the soil and stuff's not fertile and stuff like that, and the crops and stuff get destroyed from, you know, natural disasters. You have to take all that type of stuff into account. To me, a lot of stuff is not palatable. But my professor is a good person. Back to what I'm saying about certain stuff like agriculture. The stuff is not, you know, people not making money. Like Jamaica has some stuff too, where they try to have agriculture programs, certain stuff like that. You know, coconuts and stuff for these factories and stuff like that. You know, it's not going to do that much from a standpoint of like the dollar. You know, the dollar and stuff is, you know, the economy is not really that strong in a sense. But it doesn't mean it doesn't have the potential to be, but there's not a whole lot of influence of people wanting to invest their money. The same thing with Cuba. Cuba, you know, they only recently allowed for the stuff to come in. People, investors, like German investors, who at one point were thinking about it. I don't know anything about that anymore, since the whole regulations and stuff have been removed. People can't get Cuban cigars and certain stuff like that. It's very hard to get a Cuban cigar. I know people also talking about Cuban rum, basically too. All the Caribbean islands pretty much have, you know, decent what you call stuff too. But that's pretty much what they're relying on is tourism, rum, exports, and stuff like that. You know, certain countries, they don't get a lot of import stuff, so import and export is kind of a big thing. If you want new products, you want people to be able to freely trade. And the thing about the Caribbean, they have this thing called CARICOM, where it's basically free trade agreement between you know, Caribbean countries, you know, the leaders and stuff. There's like a travel agreement too. Certain people can travel to certain regions. The Goon Squad. Man. As long as you can carry me, bro. Some of the things I don't understand about too, well, it's not even about countries. It has nothing to do with certain stuff. Like, people ask why certain countries are poor, like Haiti. Haiti is poor because of what you call it, natural disasters, bad stuff happening. Like, for instance, the U.S. stole gold reserve like 1915. Forgot exact president. They stole about $15 million of gold. Well, we don't stealing. They were just what you call it. They had some type of order because we were back in France, and then France, Haiti had to pay like 22, or no, not 22, 21 billion for its independence. So, yeah. But that's besides the point. Like, biggest problem with countries and stuff like that, at least poor countries, the countries and stuff, they could be a whole lot better. The only time you gotta do all that to kill somebody, yeah, I'll get off that one, nephew. But back to what I'm saying about countries and certain stuff like that. Trade agreements and certain stuff is good. It definitely benefits countries and certain stuff like that, but all these different agreements, these sub deals, and I don't know. But I think a lot of stuff too, you gotta be careful about certain countries and these agreements, because certain people exploit. And what I mean exploit, the people, like the investors, exploit people for personal gain or certain stuff like that. Like, for instance, you know, like I said, I was watching like a documentary how somebody was doing something in Jamaica and then take away people's homes. and then like trying to drive up the price. And you know, these people would never be able to afford that. These people were definitely, like, an investor was trying to buy up like land, and people were swimming. It was these people's home. It was poor people's home and stuff like that. And that's something that they had access to. So by being an investor, I feel like I'm an ethical person. You know, you really can't peddle poverty and then try to make, you know, a profit off that. That's terrible. I feel like that's what a lot of companies and stuff do. Peddle poverty, try to like deep pockets. And like, you know, you'll buy out some land for people you know will never have the money, and the amount of money that you will give them is never anything they'll be able to own for themselves. I think that's kind of bad. There's no kind of bad, it is bad, but a lot of stuff I think is going to be terrible for a while. Nobody's talking about it, but at the end of the day, I mean, what can you do at the same time? But I don't know, man. But I think a lot of the issues stem from, not even saying politics, like especially in the country. There's no country in the world that is 100% perfect. Every country has its issues. Every country is trying to do or minimize definitely some problems or issues that are going on. But at the same time, when you think about it, paying a lot of money for certain stuff or housing, and people wouldn't want to live there because poor people live there, and the assumption about poor people is that, you know, they can get it, they try. Some people, they are trying, and some people aren't, but, you know, in certain cases I feel bad for certain people because no matter how much they try, they pretty much never want to have anything of their own in the sense of things. Like paying a certain amount of money for certain stuff. Like you can't try living on like $30 a week in a country that most products and stuff are like, that actually cost the real price of like what's over here. So I mean, it's difficult for certain people, but at the same time, it's not, like I said, it's not really economic opportunity. And then like a country that's reliant upon, like, you know, you don't want to have a savior complex where, you know, people, I know people get tired of that, a lot of false hopes, but that's what politicians do. They give you the thing, I guess the end of the stick, basically. The whole, you know, people try to hold the people accountable and certain stuff like that, but these people, you know, you think about it, they're kind of peddling poverty and they're using it as their political thing like that. Talking about adding jobs, raising minimum wage, but I mean, at the same time, you gotta think about it. Raising minimum wage is good, but you know, the cost of living index, you really want to look at a few things. Look at the cost of living index. Certain places and stuff are ridiculous. Like, let's think about it. Like California, for example. A house, 1,100 square foot house, could be like $1.5 million, and it's not even new. It's a crappy house, more than likely. Has no space. Maybe a renovated countertop or something like that. Or let's see, you know, even buildings and certain stuff like that too. Wash, you know. The thing about certain schools and certain stuff like that too, I wish schools, especially in the US, would just like implement, at least teaching somebody like some skills, like in terms, I know they have trade school, but that's not really a good job. It just depends, cause like, you know, if you don't have the best fundamentals of certain stuff, then definitely certain stuff is not gonna help. Definitely paying a lot more money for certain stuff isn't going to help. Yikes. I'll play 2 more games for y'all. That was just a terrible thing. I hate that little noise of that charged shotgun. That sounds terrible. The way it works, to me it sounds like a terrible version of the what's it called? The jet gun. It works the exact same way. You have to have ammo in it. It's not really meant to be a good gun. It's just meant to do its intended purpose. It's just not going to do that much for you. It would be good for pushing somebody out of a zone, I'll tell you that, and then have them die that way. But I don't know. But I'm still thinking about $2. I'm still thinking about people talking about communism. Communism, in my opinion, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. But I'm not going to criticize to a point where people are, it doesn't work. I feel like a lot of it is power grab. People control it, but it's in their interest. And I mean, corruption like it's big. Corruption at its finest is, I don't think 100% there's any place in the world, like I said, that's truly perfect or decent or the best country in the world. All that's propaganda. What we gotta do is, be willing to discuss, topics in which people feel that people can have a discussion about, rather. Like I said, there's no country that's perfect in the world, or has a lot of stuff going on. Like United States, it's a pretty good, nice country, This is a L. Man, this guy fucking sucked, bro. If I did not know where that dude was at, it would have been dead. Oh, bro. L after L after L. Fortnite tracker. Let's see. I'm still thinking about two politicians start talking about donate to their campaign if everybody pitched in $5. You know, people are financing people's definitely their campaign, but you have to do it in a way that's regulated, and you have to do it in accordance to guidance and stuff by the rules and regulations, just like the federal, something like that, Federal Election Commission, something like that. Yeah. Because a lot of people still be cooking the books about the stuff. It happens. People cook books, but you go in prison, you go in the federal prison, you cook books for corporations and stuff like that. To me, it's not really acceptable to, it's never acceptable to steal money from people or take stuff by any means necessary. So if people can't afford anything, or definitely, like I said, sell certain stuff, rip people off. And there's not only so much people gonna honestly do from a standpoint, like, if people buy goods at a certain rate and certain stuff, but the rate that people have should be locked in a sense. You should never pay first rate for certain items, I do feel. But we know certain stuff, and that's not the case. You know, people gonna try to make as much money. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. The premise of making money is pretty bad. Dummy. Dude gonna take my gun again. But definitely I think entrepreneurship in a way, like a nonprofits in a way. I know people have to do certain stuff by means of like trying to raise funds for I guess their organization, like lunches and what was this? I got 2 more left in me before I gotta go. But definitely, man. Brazil. Brazil's in a bad spot. I remember people talking about there shouldn't be people like Jeff Bezos. I mean, you gotta understand in a capitalist society, you know, your business and stuff can go forever and ever and ever. Your money can go beyond a certain point. You know, I can't be mad in a sense about Jeff Bezos, what he's doing. I mean, I'm not mad. The only thing I can do is what you call it. Like, let me think of a couple places that are monopoly. That are a known monopoly in a sense. Oh yeah, like credit monopolies. ABC, that's monopoly. That's regulated by the U.S. government for a good reason, I guess. But you know, they pretty much had the lock on that's called alcoholic drinks, basically. Like, for instance, you know, that's the only place people can go to for you know, liquors and certain stuff, and then people have to have licenses and stuff like that, and that comes at a steep fee. Like definitely companies and certain stuff like that, like you know, I remember when my teacher told me about what you call it, that about this person selling she didn't know, but she can't work anywhere no more, like carding people for trying to get alcoholic beverages and certain stuff. Like the people what you call it, if people are caught doing that or selling beverages and stuff like that to underage kids, they lose the license, and there's a steep fine. It's like $40,000, and then, you know, you can't have, you know, certain stuff for a long time. Your license, you know, you have an infraction, and then you can't distribute, you know, alcoholic beverages and stuff like that. And that's like, between that and the food, I think the beverages, and then that's pretty much their cash cow. So that's pretty much a definite bitch. Like, you're a sports bar and grill, you're definitely taking a hit with that bar component. And, you know, it is what it is. Like games and certain stuff, like if they release a game before its release date, they break a street release, that's $50,000 fine. Do I think that's bad? I mean, it incentivizes people to not do that, but it is serious. And then again, the companies and certain stuff, the people work at GameStop, they get the games first, but GameStop in itself won't be around that much longer, because if you think about it, GameStop as a company and certain stuff, it's not the fact that they're ripping people off. I mean, it is, but they pretty much, it's a nail in the coffin for what they did this period. Even to their employees, like if a child gets sick and the person at work, they're gonna lose their job for, you know, and they're reducing their benefits and certain stuff. You can't even get a sick day off. That's terrible. I'm still thinking about too, people talking about $1 million a year jobs. Like $1 million a year jobs, they don't happen. Like, there's not going to be a job that pays you $1 million a year. The only way that you pretty much going to make $1 million a year is you have a business or like an entrepreneurship. You have, I'm not going to say, you know, you definitely have other income coming in, like passive and residual income coming in. But the problem is a whole lot of people are just not doing what they need to be doing in terms of like financially. Like if you're not really understanding about compound interest and then, you know, making smart like business moves in a sense, like just like what are some things that I'm constantly gonna appreciate? Homes, real estate, commercial properties, that type of thing. But it's not limited to that. Cause I'm like, I mean, there's a whole lot of things that I think people don't really like about school, but at the same time, I mean, it is what it is, though. Like paying money for a certain product or certain stuff like that's not bad. The only thing I'm against, like really, is like the constantly bundled deals about people talking about, like, especially like 3 to 4 years ago with the Bitcoin mining and certain stuff like that. You're paying for a course, and then before you know it, people getting on that, talking about how to mine, really investing too much time in it, and you know, losing your shirt. Like, it wouldn't be smart for somebody to invest their life savings in, let's think about a fad. Or, let's see, not life savings. Well, we can put life savings into something like an MLM. Or, like, you know, right side smoothies, you know, the, what else is it? Oh, I forgot the name of the other thing because I'm tired. Forgot what it's called. That quick. But I'm tired. It's because I'm tired. What exactly is it called? Herbalife. There we go. Herbalife. You know, people, you know, lost their money behind that. That's not a smart business investment. It's just not. You invest your life savings into something that really you have no, it's not smart. And then the thing about the, I don't really spend time thinking about $1 million, like I said, because the thing about it is that you have $1 million, that money can go by so fast if you don't know what you're doing and you know you don't know anything about money. And the smart thing to do that a lot of people don't do is have a tax attorney, a financial advisor, a CPA, or definitely have a tax a tax attorney who is a CPA, vice versa, certain stuff like that. So you can save your money and definitely move a few things around, make sure everything is set up to a point that you know you're satisfied. You know, charitable giving is definitely going to help you out tax wise. You know, donating to you know, a non-profit, stuff like that. Because like the way I see it, there's a lot of business stuff that, you know, a lot of people say they want to do, but it's just not going to happen anytime soon. We're definitely spending a lot of money on foods and certain stuff like that. Like people are talking about like celebrities and certain stuff and talking about how they went broke staying at 5-star hotels and how certain stuff like staying at a 5-star hotel. 5-star hotels, I mean, you're paying for stuff and then the entourage. You're paying for the appearance to keep up with it don't make that much sense, but you're paying for the appearance, you're paying for the, you know, entourage, you know, getting sued multiple times, you know, it's a L. And what do you do when you get sued? Stuff like that, you know, a lot of people don't be thinking about that. I know people, when they do certain stuff, they talk about could they get a sound, or, well, not a few things. They talk about can they get a songwriter's credit. I mean, that's not really doing anything. It's more like a thing. Like, I mean, you might get royalties and stuff on it, but like, it's not really a reputable thing. Some people want more than stuff like individual rights, or, I mean, it's more to it than that. Like, you can't sample something without, you know, having, you know, permission. And at the same time, certain people might want a huge percentage of royalties and you have to pay it. Doesn't matter. But even films, like people were talking about how come Ash Williams, Bruce Campbell, if you're not familiar with Ash Williams, Evil Dead, he was supposed to be in Mortal Kombat, the first pack, but I don't think he owns the rights and all the stuff. They have to work out these exclusive deals and certain stuff. Like Michael Myers is supposed to be coming to Mortal Kombat if the leaks prove to be true. Those have to be, that type of stuff has to be worked out definitely. Like, you know, you can't 110% say that, yeah, this is what's going to happen here. This is how it's going to work out. This is how it's going to do that. But at the same time, a lot of these films or certain stuff that weren't produced by, you know, some of these people. There's been reboots, you know, certain stuff got picked up by certain networks, so the rights and stuff have been sold. Like Star Wars. Star Wars isn't really owned by, anymore. What's the guy's name? George Lucas. It's not really owned by him anymore. He sold the rights to films. There's a lot of films, they haven't been bad. They're pretty decent, but they're definitely going down a path where they're trying to make more films. Yes, spin-offs. But spending a lot of money on, like, you know, on these films and certain stuff like that, and then keep getting legal disputes about certain stuff. It's pretty costly. And the fact that you gotta be in and out of court, hell. Like, if you spend a lot of money, you not only do you rack up attorney's fees. You know, sometimes parties and stuff have to pay for, you know, the other teams, legal fees, you know, the defendant or whatever, and the plaintiff, you know, doesn't really matter. You gotta pay the fees. And then people can counter sue. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, certain stuff, deals and stuff fall through all the time, but there's nothing people can do about it. I think sometimes, like, especially with music, there could be good actors and certain stuff, but not definitely good singers. Like, I feel like that was a statement for Nick and Disney at the time. Everybody at Disney when I was like a kid, like between the years of like 2005 and 2009, every child actor pretty much had a singing deal and acting deal. Like, let's think about somebody, Corbin Blue. He's definitely a prime example. I wish the best of Corbin Blue, but there's just way too much going on in terms of like Nick and Disney, but he wasn't with Nick. He was with Disney. Disney definitely did a lot, and Disney, the Ant Farm, I never really watched that. That's been years ago. That shows you how much I really watched some of this stuff. Like, you pay a lot of money for certain stuff, like especially like for TV. I know people talk about canceling their TV all the time, or their cable, because of the bill incurred and then the Fire Stick. Fire Stick, you have to have high-speed internet for that to work. And then with the updates, you know, I don't know. There's a lot of shady stuff going with updates too. But paying too much money for certain stuff definitely gets sold real quick. But the licensing and agreements thing is definitely a big deal. Now, there used to be this rib sauce and stuff that I like getting at Chili's, and they just stopped doing it. And I realized the executive chef was behind this sauce. I don't know. Maybe the whole thing fell through. The whole deal. They just stopped carrying it. I think Chili's is okay. Like, businesses and certain stuff like that, they shouldn't have certain stuff set up to where people can't do a few things. Like, the 2 for $25. I know that was one of my favorite things to get at Chili's, like 2 for $20, and then they make 2 for $25. It's not bad. I wish it would include a drink, like Sprite or something like that. 'Cause that's what I like to drink when I'm at Chili's, Sprite. But I don't know, bro. Like, I know Chili's, last time I went to Chili's, or when I used to get the ribs, they had like honey chipotle, and then they had like Dr. Pepper ribs. I'm pretty sure that thing ran out, that specific deal ran out. Nothing against it, it's just not, Dr. Pepper and ribs just don't go together in my opinion. Well, people talk about eating out costs a lot. I mean, it does. But at the same time, I know people get mad talking about you can't eat out and stuff like that. This virus and stuff is wiped out and stuff. Of course, you know, if you're a vulnerable person with pre-existing health conditions, you know, you pretty much, it's a matter of life and death. And I think a lot of people don't get that. But at the same time, with these conspiracy theories and stuff people got going on, yeah, I mean, you got to draw the line. Like, all due respect, you know, you have to draw the line with some of these conspiracy theories. Like I said the other day, certain people are looking for a book deal, elevated on a platform, or they're controversial in a sense. And from a traditional sense, you know, you might get a few people to actually believe that businesses and these people, or the companies and stuff. Some of these books and stuff are self-published, but they go for like $20. Why does stuff go up for so high? Like, I don't know. The books, because they count on people to buy it, and self-publishing a book, I mean, self-publishing a book's kind of bad, honestly. That's just my 2 cents on it, but definitely self-publishing the title means, I mean, you know, not everybody's stuff. They want to go through a big company, because the company might take a good, portion of proceeds and stuff like that. You know, I understand it's not for everybody. Everybody's not trying to get on one of these definite big stuff and have a company deal with it, deal with contract issues, and people that deal with book signings. You know, there's a lot of stuff in contracts with books you have to deal with. Especially these actors and stuff like that. They gotta go to these events. Oh my god, that was just a bad spot. We should never went there, but you know, you live and you learn. I'll put one more. Nobody get off, I think. What time is it? If it's, yeah, I definitely gotta get off, but I mean, from perspective about business and certain stuff, or two, I know like a lot of radio hosts and stuff like that, they've gone like, if they get in a dispute with a particular network at a prime time, like, you know, radio company, like a Sirius XM or those type of stuff, they pretty much have to, that's pretty much over. Like, that's not necessarily the death of your whole thing, but it's definitely not looking good. Like, if you go from a network, you're pretty, you know, you have a decent following on that. People are not gonna follow you to like a, not even saying a bogus site, but people are not gonna follow you and take your thing seriously, your podcast seriously. We're gonna back out this one. We're gonna get another one. And if it's not good, we're gonna leave. Like, but people are not gonna follow you. You think people are loyal. I remember this guy, he was doing like it was like about, I'll say between 7-8 years ago, popular black radio host. He did something. His name come to mind. I think his name was like Warren Ballantyne. He did something to make him lose his law license, and he got convicted. And he did some other stuff on radio. The radio didn't like what he did, because it's just like, you know, you put on a persona on the radio, how you're supposed to be like a legal scholar, certain stuff you tell him for that. Then, you know, you bash the radio and stuff like that, and then you, what you call it, get on one of these nondescript radio airwaves, like nobody's tuning into that. I guess another kind of talk show host, I mean, I feel like he's halfway decent. But he's been on way too many things. He's not controversial or anything. Roland Martin, I thought he's decent, halfway decent. What is it that he does? You know, news commentating certain stuff, but he's always on these like no name failing networks. TV One's not by no way a no name failing network, but it's not top of the line. Like ooh, kind of one of those. Let me think of a bad network too. I mean, it's not necessarily bad. It's just not, you know, it doesn't get that much stuff. Like Centric. Centric is not really. I haven't really thought about anything that's relatively decent. But I think there's a whole lot of things that are bad about business in a sense, and then acting. That, you know, it's just terrible. Like I said, people who can't sing, or acting is their gift, singing is not. But Disney got these kids stuff under contract. That was terrible. There's a number of childhood stars just went out. They just went out quick. Cause like there's only so much when you grow up. Like, you know, I mean, you might have been good, but you know. When you start getting old and stuff like that, you know, your stock potential goes down. And certain people, they get typecasted too. Like what you talking about, Willis and stuff like that. We had to know that their careers and stuff weren't gonna last long with their childhood actors. You gotta hope that they save their money, their youthful appearance. Like Emmanuel Lewis, not a bad actor, but like I'm saying, you know, there's not really the need of a child actor or a youthful. There's not really the need for, you know, that type of stuff. Or those type of shows anymore. How? That's annoying, bro. None of these dudes did anything. Like, so my kill just basically went down the drain. I'll put one more, cause that was just terrible. But like, if you had to think about just even some of the smaller stuff, from a scale of like fees and certain stuff. Like another problem I got. Being loyal supporters of, like, you know, these big name actors, not big name actors, these big name directors and stuff like that. A project talking about their project, they talking about they need people to crowdfund their projects, like their new movie project, like an indie project. It's not really indie. They have the resources and the money to, you know, to produce a film. They just don't want to come out of their own pocket or deal with the studio rather, because studios and stuff. Movie studios are not tolerating certain stuff or certain people. How people need like a $8 million budget. More people get told no than they do yes. Well, what's the regards to movies and business? More people get told no than yes. Even though somebody could have made 50 million. No, an $8 million thing, nah, that ain't happening. And that's pretty much like what, an eighth or less than an eighth of you know, budget that someone's made. The 50 million, that's the only piece of pie, but at the same time, that's not how business works. They want to make sure that money doubles and triples. But, business. To start that game. Yeah, we'll go there. It's not even a bad spot. But paying a lot of money for definitely food and beverage, especially at the movie theater, nah. You think about the movie theater, I'm not even really mad about the movie theater per se. I'm going to talk about what you call this, the markup. It's the company too, and it's the movie theater especially. But you know, you can't have certain stuff, but they try to enforce it. I mean, I never go to the thing and bring outside food. I don't do that. If not, I'm just not going to get anything from there. No food, no drink, no nothing. Well, I know people are talking about living frugal too. People talking about they can't afford the movies. I mean, yeah, the movies and stuff is expensive, but I mean, you know, it's sort of experience. You know, you don't pay cheap prices for something once you go to for the experience. I don't think you should definitely have to not pay for what you call it, too. I know the movie stuff now, you have to pay for accommodation for like seats and certain stuff like that. Not really accommodations, but like convenience fee. That I don't 100% understand, but I know now why they kind of do it. It's because they have like, for the POS system they have, they mainly use Square, and Square takes a proceed of their not product, but their profit, but also the product too. I'll go in, I'll put in POS system connected to Square. You don't have to pay an install fee, but you just have to use our, you know, software and search stuff. Our official thing and our monitor where, you know, we're conducting and transacting business. People swiping their cards, certain stuff like that. Keep it going. Cause like thing at Chili's, like in 2009, Chili's, I went to Chili's in DC, and they were the first people that had that little touchpad thing where you can actually go in there and touch the stuff. So that stuff wasn't new, but it was only until a couple years later until I actually saw that. Cause before they was only doing card here in North Carolina, but well, there really wasn't that much going on, relatively speaking. From a standpoint, there's not that much going on. Like, if people spend, you know, if people spend a certain amount of money just focusing on, let's say, necessity, bare minimum necessities. Like, okay, if I go to the movie theater, I get popcorn. You know, am I going to get a large popcorn? Am I going to get a combo? Am I going to get a small? Or do I feel like it's something that should be bundled? Now, the movie theater that I go to, I really don't go to. It just depends on, you know, just the overall feel, what is cheaper and what is better, or who has a screening of a film first, or who's doing something better than another. I like the Alamo Draft House. They're pretty good and stuff like that. Thing about it is that, I don't know, popcorn and brew just not go together. And I'm not really a drinker, nothing like that. Popcorn and what you call it, beer, that doesn't go together at all. By no means does that go together. But it might be a knack for certain people. It might be a knack for certain people. Because, you know, cheese and crackers and like wine and stuff like that, they serve that at art galleries and certain stuff in New York. Now, I don't think certain people, they pay money, they just go to art galleries and certain stuff. They can just eat for free. But there's limited reserve space. But New York, I mean, there's a lot to do, but a lot of people in New York is just, you know, I wasn't gonna say New Jersey is a whole lot worse. You know, ain't that much going on in New Jersey. Like New Jersey got all these different companies and businesses out there. Like I think Verizon, they're Baskin Ridge, New Jersey. That's probably so it can be close in New York. You have Seton Hall out there. Seton Hall is terrible. They're terrible. Like basketball, sports-wise, but I think they're a decent school. They're like they're a Catholic school, so it's not that bad, but. So they're supported by, like, you know, definitely Catholicism, you know, Archbishop or something like that. Or a diocese, I'm not sure if I said that correctly, but, yeah. You got support of the Catholic Church. but definitely like going to certain places. I don't know. Like business, I mean, there's some business ideas that are pretty, you know, outlandish, but they're successful. But definitely certain stuff doesn't go together. And what kills is some people want a minimalistic, you know, experience. They don't want all the talking about Verizon's profitable. I think not. Verizon's not that good. They're not. Verizon's terrible. Like Verizon is so terrible they had to buy a company for like a couple $1 billion. The service is terrible. Arkansas, Jonesboro, Arkansas, they were terrible. Like around those areas and stuff, especially rural North Carolina, terrible. Because Alltel was a carrier. I had Alltel. My family had Alltel. And so like, it went away around here like 2010 and stuff like that. Really 2009. Well, 2009 rather. I put it at that because nobody calls it 2009. But yeah, Verizon, everybody, Verizon would have gone bankrupt. They would have took a huge L. They didn't buy Alltel, and that should have been blocked. Should have been blocked. Because Verizon has had the infrastructure that they claim they do. You know, once you do your own independent research about certain stuff and who actually has the money and who actually has control of infrastructure-wise about telephone towers and certain stuff, no way. But it is terrible. The worst carrier I can honestly say is T-Mobile, but that's a whole different other story. Definitely, I know a whole lot of phone providers and stuff are talking about, you know, during this difficult time we have people work from home. You know, who wants to work at a call center from home? I laugh at call centers and stuff. The job, you know, people don't love companies. I wouldn't love a phone company. Phone companies and stuff is just, they're terrible. All of them are just terrible. The thing about people want people that are so sold out for businesses, that's ridiculous, borderline insanity. Like you don't believe in your whole heart that, you know, a service or a product is good, but because you're a salesman, because you want to eat. I mean, I'm not mad about that. You know, you got to eat to support yourself, but you don't even fully 100% believe something. Like there was this guy, he said that Sprint was better than AT&T, tried to challenge him to a speed test. This is terrible. You know, you don't even believe that 100% yourself. I might put one more of this, but I'm definitely going to sleep after this. But it's terrible. You can't take certain stuff seriously, like just with business. You just can't take people seriously. Like these companies and stuff like that, they don't care like about laying people off. Just not employees. You know, they get people to work for. You know, they forget who builds the company and stuff like that. But I mean, I never worked for any company. I'm just saying the general stuff that you hear about people, you know, protesting, walk out, going on strike. You know, it's for a reason. It's not just because people are sick and tired of, you know, certain stuff. But like I'm saying, like definitely. The thing about businesses, and especially these companies, they just don't believe some of the stuff themselves. You know, everything's about dollar signs. I get it, but I just have like discrepancies with believing stuff that people tell me. This is a little too small of a circle for a squad, so I'm not even gonna say anything like that. This guy can edit. He's a good builder, but you need to work on his edits. And this is just a bad circle. I'm gonna leave this one. But besides the point, like businesses and brands and certain stuff, they don't. I feel like the thing is about keeping the image, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a whole lot of stuff. The covers and stuff aren't built. Like for instance, people can say that they cover a certain, like a continental U.S. Like a train company can say they cover a continental U.S. or something like that. You know, at a certain point, they don't. Like Alaska, certain parts, like if someone said they can get you through Alaska, a train, like Amtrak can say they get you through Alaska, that's a lie. Certain parts of Alaska are only accessible by boat or plane. Like Juneau, Alaska, that's only accessible by boat or plane. If someone talking about they're gonna get a doggone train to Juneau, Alaska, that ain't happening. Ain't happening. It's only accessible by plane, by boat and plane, and that's a good 8 hours. And it's 8 hours away from stuff like, nah. Like, a train company can say that we cover all 50 states in Alaska. I don't believe that. We cover the continental U.S. I don't know about that one. What are they talking about? Vancouver. Vancouver, Newfoundland. Basically, it's basically Newfoundland, but it's Newfoundland. Because the people who discovered were Finnish, I believe. I'm still thinking about too, also, people talking about Christopher Columbus discovered America. He didn't. There was a person who discovered North America. His name was Bjorn Herjolfsson. He actually discovered stuff, but he never got credit. It's hearsay, but I mean, it's a good fact to know. Hey, this will be us. I'll play another game, and after that, I'm gone. back to what I'm saying about certain stuff, like too. Ain't no way I 100% believe, especially if you talk about the infrastructure. No way. I'm kind of a geography whiz in a sense, because I mean, I'll be looking at random facts. And kind of a history buff, so, I mean, even small details, people be like, I remember the most random stuff. I mean, that's a good thing, though. Because nobody can say that, you know, I don't know much of anything. Because, I mean, in a day and age where certain stuff, you know, you want to be as informative as you can about certain stuff. It definitely benefits you in a way. There's so things underwater. But definitely, I don't know, man. Like, there's not that much going out in Alaska. Alaska, I mean, people do get paid in Alaska because they got that oil reserve out there. They pay people like $20,000 to live out there because the tax base and then that oil, the drilling stuff. I mean, that's pretty decent, but like, it's pretty cold in Alaska. And besides, you know, people out there have to, have a shotgun because they got bears, polar bears and stuff out there, just bears in general. They definitely gotta have that shotgun. Because when bears and stuff go hungry, yeah, they break people's homes and stuff like that, and then definitely breaking that fridge. Something sweet. I remember, you know, I think another thing people do need to be careful too is when they're hiking and they go in these caves unannounced and certain stuff like that, or, you know, nobody really knows what they're doing. Because anytime that you pretty much go into a cave or something like that and, you know, you're not really aware, you should automatically know if something smells wrong. There's probably a good chance that a bear is hibernating in a cave. It'll smell like malarkey. It'll smell like crap in there. Because basically all this bears doing is basically sleeping. Now bears and stuff, they do wake up out of hibernation and stuff, but they live off their stored fat, stuff like that. So, I mean, that's random, but like, I mean, for the most part, a lot of stuff, from an infrastructure standpoint, if you don't have infrastructure built out with anything, obviously, you know, that'll be a huge problem in the future. If you don't definitely get a contract, stuff like that, or there's just certain stuff you can't do just by terrain. Like, you can't build, you know, a levee or a bridge or something like that. Like the Panama Canal, that's man-made. What I'm about to do, peace out. One more and I'm out gone, but just besides the point, like, for real, because that game was terrible. Thing about businesses and certain stuff, I mean, you ain't got infrastructure, you can't do anything. And from a logistics standpoint and supply chain, you can't really do that much if certain stuff is inoperable by terrain. Like, if I'm supposed to be transporting goods and stuff from the mountains, especially, and I'm trying to go into a market. Like, if I have macaroni and cheese, I'm craft macaroni and cheese. I have to explain to people that the macaroni and cheese in the mountains and stuff like that, when you cook it, it's a whole complete different time because of the climate and the weather up there, like in Colorado and stuff like that. You have to follow a different set of instructions because the air temperature and the air pressure is a whole lot different. And you'd be surprised about how much stuff like you rarely think about. You gotta take into account about how stuff is like affecting your body from a standpoint, but I mean, it's different. Because the air pressure and stuff is completely different. If people don't build out infrastructure too, it's pretty bad. Like for instance, all these different what you call it, railways and stuff. We got like Amtrak. Amtrak is pretty big. Yep. Amtrak doesn't cover all 50 states. They don't. You cover 46 out of 48 states. And that's probably because of the market and then the terrain. I feel like that's still decent. You know, for what it is. But I definitely would not take a train to Alaska. I mean, do I plan to visit all 50 states? Yeah. I mean, it's something to do. I already been to California, so I got a couple more. I think I've probably been to probably like 9 states or so. So, I mean, I do a lot of international travel. Like, I mean, before this pandemic, so it's pretty decent. But I don't think, like, certain stuff, if you save the amount of money, and you want to do something, you want to travel internationally, like, yeah, you got to get a passport and certain stuff like that. You gotta, there's a lot of stuff you gotta fill out. But I mean, from a standpoint, money wise, not even really money wise. A lot of stuff definitely goes sideways, for a reason. I remember, like, even especially cell phone companies, there's no way they can cover a whole 50 states. There's no way. Because Alaska is pretty. Alaska, I mean, it seems pretty, but the size, it almost has a unnavigatable terrain in a sense. Like I said, you have certain stuff, certain conditions. It's definitely cold up there, freezing cold, beyond freezing cold, like -30 degrees. Chicago's up there too. a negative too. I mean, a lot of people up north, winters and stuff is brutal. So, you know, people be freezing off. But I think people get through it. No, I guess that's just a thing. People live somewhere, I guess gotta get, you know, used to it. What blue at? But definitely, like, from a standpoint, a logistics standpoint, a lot of stuff in infrastructure is just not where it needs to be at, relatively speaking. Cause like a phone operator and certain stuff like costs, you know, like I said, goods, you're not going to pay a certain amount of money to have your goods delivered across the country. And then certain stuff like, nah. And there's law and stuff with, like, with provisions about what type of stuff can come in, what type of stuff comes out. I would be surprised. I was actually surprised with some of the stuff that actually is legislated. Even some of the smallest stuff is just like, it's ridiculous, but ain't nothing really you can do. But I mean, vote some of these people out. But I mean, give or take, there's a lot of stuff to be done, but paying money for certain stuff, nah. I need to stop saying nah, but like businesses and certain stuff, like it wouldn't make that much sense for a telephone company to build, and like if someone says they have coverage in Alaska, they don't. The only place that really has coverage, they don't have native coverage. There's only like one true carrier in Alaska, and it's regional. It's called GCI. You can search it up. It's called GCI Cellular. They're like a small little thing that's rural. It provides coverage in like, you know, these little remote places that people need to have access to internet. Definitely. But at the same time, from a logistics standpoint, you know, because of the terrain, it's like it's not really navigatable. So, I mean, you have to have basic infrastructure. But I see certain stuff as, I don't know, good and bad. Well, from a standpoint, I don't know. Kids should only go to school for 4 days a week. And that's my unpopular opinion. Well, yeah, because I know a lot of legislation probably say kids need to go to school 5 days a week. But kids not learning anything. The teachers not even teaching, really, to be completely honest. Some are and some aren't. Like my whole high school career was played by worksheets and Khan Academy, pretty much. And then getting tutors and stuff to tutor me about how to do a certain basically trying to reinforce what, you know, I didn't get in class. And it really wasn't me. 100% of the time. It's more like 50-50 with some of the teachers what they was doing. And then I guess like a huge issue, especially with like companies and stuff like that, they're outsourcing jobs. So you know, if you're a remote thing, there's certain people who have like a region lock on certain stuff. Like for instance, if like you live out in like rural Georgia and stuff like that, then you know about Sudden Link. Sudden Link is pretty much a thing here in North Carolina, but it's only Sudden Link isn't where I live at currently. It's only available in like eastern part of North Carolina. Like that's pretty much where it's at. And I don't live in eastern part of North Carolina. I'm just saying from a standpoint. There's a lot of stuff from a logistics standpoint. You know, in the market, they're not going to go and try to cater to somebody when they know they have better competition. They're just going to cater to people who need access to internet in a rural place. Because that's basically who they cater to. They're not going to spend, you know, a couple, $10 million on, you know, a couple people. They're not going to do that. They're going to do where area is greater served and a demographic where they feel like their market is needed. So, I mean, a lot of stuff is like, you know, your price and your debt and stuff that you got to do. You gotta do the price of doing business, but at the same time, I don't 100% believe everything that people say about certain stuff like oil. Oil shouldn't even be high, but it's really about speculation, who's out there controlling it. It is what it is. And you really can't change that. You pay your money, you do what you need to do. But paying a lot of money for certain stuff, nah. But for real, building certain stuff like even, you know, satellite certain stuff. Like for instance, like DirecTV, they're not gonna, you know, I don't really see DirecTV. A lot of people pushing DirecTV because DirecTV, I think they're doing a rebrand of their whole package, what they got to offer. Like there's not that much with DirecTV. They don't really package certain stuff, the deals and stuff. Most people see through the BS, and then you sign a contract. And then before you know, you can get these people to boot. All these introductory prices, you know, was $99, $100 for triple play, internet, landline, and what you call it. What else they offer? Cable, $99, $99. That stuff is going to go up to like what, $250 after maybe a year and a half, 2 years after that contract agrees. That's why people don't really think about the legal stuff, because it's fine print. But nobody, like, you know how people read the terms and agreements for these websites to use the app? Nobody pays attention to that because it's like 10 pages long, and you know that you could be selling your data and stuff like that. So I mean, not everything that is good or had a good intention is going to 100% remain good. So that's another thing. That's another thing to think about. The cost of doing business is like all relative. Like doing business, I mean, in a place, I wouldn't expect for a company or certain stuff like that. It would make no sense for you know, out of thing like T-Mobile, for instance. They only have cell phone service for servicemen and stuff like that over in Guantanamo Bay, but they're not going to fully commit that type of service and stuff over to like the whole Cuba. They don't have the money, or they don't want to go in a market where people don't know the brand of T-Mobile. People not gonna do that. The thing about T-Mobile, they don't have the infrastructure. They don't even have the money to even build out an infrastructure in Cuba. It'll be almost no need to. And the thing that really doesn't make any sense too is, like, you know, since with these roaming agreements, especially go international, it's probably best to what you just do the data stuff. Just get the $10 thing until you can find out, but it's not really even cheap. But something like you go to another country, you don't really speak the language and stuff like that. It's kind of simplified though, but or you can just get an international SIM. That's pretty much what people do. But at the same time, the international SIM, they do have SIM stations at airports and stuff like that, so you'd be pretty good there. But definitely the top ups and certain stuff like the prepaid. A lot of stuff that happens that certain companies and countries and stuff like that, you tell people you're going out the country, especially your cell phone company, they're not going to give you an unlock code for your phone. They're not. It's not going to happen. So that's why pretty much people buy phones unlocked. So they, like, if they're planning to move out the country and stuff like that, they don't have to worry about a phone being unlocked. Because you basically have a brick of a phone that won't work. I could have sniped that guy, but I might play one more. I need to stop saying that, but I might play one more before I have to go for real this time. But I mean, I like to enjoy talking about certain stuff, but paying money for a service and stuff is not good. It's not really serving you a greater area. Like paying a premium for, you know, for something that isn't, you know, you deserving of your money is a problem. Another problem I got with certain stuff is billing. Shouldn't have done that, Playboy. That was third party, bro. I'm about to win that anyway. I'll play one more just because, and I might get off for real. But the thing about business and stuff like that, I mean, businesses and certain stuff, their goal is to remain profitable. They have a lot of expenses and certain stuff, and then they have a lot of lawsuits that they're trying to dispute and try to mitigate as much as possible, so that the damages that they incur are, minimal. Like a lot of people talking about internet, like high-speed internet for rural areas. That's not happening. Like T-Mobile, that doesn't happen. T-Mobile is terrible. It really doesn't matter. Across I-95, I think I-95 goes to like California, from what I understand, to a certain part, at least to Texas, I think. Oh, no, that's Highway 40. There we go. I-95 goes all the way to Florida. So my bad. I got that one wrong. I'm still thinking about like what you call it. Like there's like a lot of places. For instance, like some parts of South Carolina could be considered Georgia, and what you call it, vice versa. Walterboro, South Carolina is so close to Georgia. It's like on like what, like 30 minutes. Let's think about a couple places too. Parts of Georgia could be considered Alabama because it's not that far. So, vice versa. Same thing with Tennessee. North Carolina and Tennessee are close. Like clearly, that's pretty much Tennessee. You don't even be that far away from Tennessee. I gotta get a couple kills. Just go around. Oh my god, bro. Third party. I'm about to win that anyway. But back to when I said I'll probably play one more because that was a BS. Like for real. Because that wasn't even a full game. And people just being idiots picking a spot. I mean, I don't have a problem landing a spot, but don't pick a spot that you know you're not even doing what you need to do. It's just like, it's frustrating, but besides the point. Like, let's think about something that's also terrible. Oh yeah, supply chain management. Like, I know, especially a company, it wouldn't make that much sense for, certain places can't deliver to like, Alaska because of the terrain, that type of stuff. There's certain stuff that I remember they said there was a man that was going like 13 hours because I think he has to get off of a ferry and he has to drive to a certain part of Alaska. I'm not exactly sure, but he goes on a ferry and then he's like it's like a 13-hour trip for him. Um, he supplies a grocery store for people who are unable to get out because Alaska's so remote. And he supplies the food or basic groceries for the town. So, I mean, oil and stuff is like, I mean, it's good. Fossil fuels, I think it's pretty bad, but at the same time, there's nobody really trying to make an effort to really make renewable, clean energy. I mean, the Tesla is a good car in a sense, but some stuff is questionable, like the outside stuff. Like, what is it? What's so questionable? Like moving. Let's see what Elon Musk has done. What did he do? Oh yeah, with that California thing, where he said he's gonna get people from San Francisco to like LA, like 30 minutes with that high speed, train. It's gonna blow air, and people are gonna go so fast, it's literally gonna cut the time in half. I mean, that's pretty dangerous because basically, Sir Isaac Newton's law of physics says force cannot be acted upon. Something like that goes in that type of tune. I'm really tired. I don't know the quote fully if I was fully, like, I had some sleep, but this is probably my last one. Unless acted upon another object. So, it's free energy, but at the same time, it basically means it wouldn't necessarily slow itself down, basically. Unless it was acted by, another force. You can't really deny the law of physics. Like, the thing that I understand most about physics, I mean, I remember stuff from like 5 years ago. If something hits something at 10 newtons, like a fly hits a car at 10 newtons, it has to equal the same thing as the car. So it'd be 10 newtons. What would be that total energy, total joules? It's called Joules. That's the energy. So I still remember that type of stuff. This is a bull. I got one more left in me for real. But this time I'm seriously out after this one. But, man. Probably gonna be out for a long time. But, yep. Alaska and Hawaii are not a part of continental U.S. And Hawaii is not really. Hawaii is in the Pacific Ocean. I can name all the oceans. You got the Atlantic, you got the Pacific, you got the Arctic, you got the Indian, and then you got the Southern. I can name all the 5 oceans at the top of my head. It's just that simple. Like if I went on a talk show, not a talk show, but a game show, I'll probably win it. Maybe that simple. It don't really take me that much to remember something. Even if it's a small fact, I mean, I'm on it. I'm still thinking about just what you call it, marketing. Marketing really be having people food out here paying a lot of money for overpriced items. Like just even small stuff like food, water, beverages. You know, you don't pay that much money for certain stuff. You shouldn't, but that's not the way things are set up. So like for instance, if you basically think that items and certain stuff should be a little bit cheaper, don't mean they're 100% gonna be cheaper. Definitely, because certain stuff, like people complain about certain stuff being imported and exported, you gotta pay a tax. Like if you got a gold necklace and certain stuff, you have to declare that. A lot of people think they're being savvy and getting a deal. You're not about to beat that. I don't think there's that many things that you can beat, honestly. Well, I'm about to leave. Play one more and I'm out. For sure. Cause that dude left. I mean, I don't like when people talking about, you gotta make. Like, bruh. Come on, bruh. But paying a lot of money for certain stuff just don't make sense. Like a whole lot of people were talking about, yeah, you go to definitely these countries where the stuff is like all these different types of stuff, Louis Vuitton, and I know a lot of people be talking about they want to get these type of bags, they don't even know how to say it correctly. Louis Vuitton. I didn't know the difference between Chris Louboutin. All that type of stuff. And then like what you call it, Hermes. And people come talking about, yeah, I got the Hermes belt. Like, no, it's Hermes. It's just like, you know, I'm not, no, I don't really talk about this in the clothing. This between, I guess, like me, I'm really cool about certain stuff, and I mean, I know how to get into higher spaces, and then maintaining, I guess, an intelligent conversation so people don't know that you're an idiot or stuff like that to a certain extent. Because like when you show somebody who has like, you know, a particular stuff, you know, they have a skill and they can get you to a certain place. The last thing they want you to do is make a fool out of yourself and a fool out of them for even entertaining a conversation. Like, that's one of the last things you want to do, if you have to be honest. Like, especially about business. You can't keep up with the speed. Like if someone asks you what the fiduciary, what you call it, policies and stuff are, that's basically the fiscal policy and everything, but more importantly, interest rates and all that type of stuff. you know, I don't really sit up here and have to do, like, I don't really try to, you know, definitely talk about certain stuff or really be on, like, I'm very, what you call it, I don't really like a lot of stuff that's kind of mainstream, or I don't even say mainstream, it's kind of old, rather, like, stuff that's not really talked about, so, I guess that's interesting. But like all this different type of stuff, like the designer belts. I mean, the difference between me and somebody, I don't really care about designer belts. I don't. Or like the Lamborghini. I mean, a Lamborghini's all cool, but everything said and done, you're gonna pay at least what you call it. What? The car itself is like $299,000. That's if you the basic model. Everything with the bells and whistles, you're probably looking at about $400,000, give or take. And nobody's financing that car. You got cold cash, you know, hard-earned cash. You can pay for it, but I mean, what would be the point of that? Like, you don't get a $400,000 car and your home and stuff is not at least, you know, I would say between, I would say 800,000 and then 1.2 million. You know, you would definitely not get that. That's just not smart. Like, there used to be a guy, he had a Bentley, he's dead now. But he seemed like a cool guy though, but he had a Phantom, stuff like that. He had, nice guy though, but he died young. I'm not sure exactly what happened to him, but I mean, you kind of like, you had the money for a car, but you had the money for your health. I mean, there's something wrong with that. There's seriously something wrong with that, like. But definitely, you would definitely not pay no what you call a certain amount of money, and you ain't got it. Like, it's not so work. No, it just don't add up. I'm not trying to be shady or nothing like that. I could care less about, you know, material possessions in a way. I don't. But the thing about business and certain stuff is just not smart. Like, you know, you can buy a $99,000 car, but probably don't have a good life insurance policy, or, you know, even certain stuff, accidental death. That's some of the stuff that I don't get. And then you, like I'm saying, you don't buy. Yeah, you most definitely would not buy items. probably my best game yet, relatively speaking. That the other one I got like 7 kills, but cause this has some crappy games. But like I'm saying, like definitely the money aspect about certain stuff is just you know, you're not saying you can't make money and stuff like that, but like certain stuff just gonna add. Just don't add. Like it wouldn't benefit you, you know, to have certain stuff and then, you know, it don't add up. Not saying add up, it just doesn't match. You know, if you can't afford like maintenance on a car, like obviously a Lamborghini and stuff like that, you gonna need that stuff maintained, and obviously you're not about to take, you know, a Lamborghini and stuff to go to a local car dealership. You're not about to do that. You're about to get that junk detailed. Like it doesn't make sense. Like you don't buy, you know, even if you don't, even if you have the bare minimum amount of money, like, And it's like, I mean, I'm a really solid person. I mean, I don't really try to be that much. Like, I mean, I don't make a big deal out of things either. They run away. He should run away.
Where the heck did Heli go? Where's the helicopter?
Those guys were trash to leave us like that.
Yeah, they was trash. Don't need to kill me because I was trying to edit kill me. How much kills do you have?
5.
Well, I have 3. Right, kills. I'm gonna try to you want shotgun or do you want the grenade thing?
I'm fine. I don't need it. I don't like shotguns that much. And I don't like the little grenade launcher.
That helicopter west because they know they're about to die. Hey, bud, you got the battle pass?
Yeah.
You sound like a grown man.
I'm 21. I'm not that grown.
How long have you been playing?
Since I was 18. So 3 years.
No. Leave go circle hard. Circle is past lazy lake.
They were here then. They got the helicopter. Oh, they're still here. They're still here. They're still here. I swear I seen somebody jump around. Oh yeah, they're still here. They're still here. They're still here. Hitting for
You see
105.
them?
Yeah, they're right there.
Yeah. You gonna rush?
Nope, I ain't trying to die.
How much is it?
Oh, he's behind that rock.
Yeah, I see him.
I'll push with you then.
Hey, bro, come on, let's take this. They took this secret pathway. I have no map, bro. What the heck? I hit it for free. She should be.
Oh, no. GG, bro. GG. Alright, people. Good night.